Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about essentially the top items that are recommended by Capterra for your CRM to make a good decision to purchase a CRM. So we're referencing this article, and I will go ahead and leave this article link in the description for the video. But essentially, these are the things that Capterra recommends. Capterra is an aggregator of CRM data, and they have CRM ratings. So these are the things that they recommend that a CRM have. First thing that they recommend is contact management, and I can show you that here. So let's look at our customer card, and there you go. So there's your contact management. Now, the great thing about the unified user experience is that we can add data fields to this. And so in addition to being able to add whatever data you want, you can also add data that is a sidecar to that data or data that is related to that data. All right. But managing customer data, you can see we've got the whole customer contact here. Again, I can add whatever data fields I want to this. And then I can search for customers. I can add filters. There's a lot of different ways for me to import and export the customer data. So that piece is extremely powerful. You can also select which columns you want to use for a search. All right. Interaction tracking, that is also on this same screen. That's right below the customer record. So the interaction tracking, if we had an email interaction, I can pop that up. We can walk through any of the interactions, and the system can handle the interactions in the platform as well. So there's a lot of back and forth that can happen. So for example, phone call comes in, the platform handles it. Basically, it would fill up all of these screens with data, or a text message or an email. That's all going to be handled out of the box. But this is our customer journey, and it very much satisfies that need because you'd be able to filter by any of these records, by any of these interactions. And you can have more than just interactions here. You can have notes, you can have tickets, lots and lots of options there. So let's go ahead and cover our third item, which is lead management. So now lead management would take place in the center of the screen. Right now I have a ticket up, but this could just as easily be a lead. And again, with the lead management, you would be able to select whatever data fields you want. You'd be able to add whatever data fields you want. And if you need to synchronize that data with an external system, that lead data, you can. So we can add data fields. We can create guided processes, step-by-step processes for the lead management. We have the same search options for the leads as well. We can link the lead data to the contact data. So that is extremely powerful, very easy out of the box functionality for Ivenix. So let's look at the common core CRM features that they recommend. Email integration. We do absolutely have email integration. And let me show you an example of what that might look like in terms of using that with a cadence. So this is our process automation. And each one of these is defining a trigger for an action. And then each of these represents an action. So this node, basically, we've got a script, we've got an email, a text message, all of that is possible. So first off, we can connect email to your Outlook or to whatever server you're using. So if it's Outlook, if it's Google Suite, we won't have a problem as Ivenix connecting to that. So first off, we connect to your email. Secondly, we can create email tickets from inbound emails. That's very easy to do. And then we can automate email processes. We can attach emails, as you see here. Whoops, let me get to this screen. We can attach emails. So this email is attached to this customer. So I can pop up the details of that. So not only do we have email, we also have email ticketing. We also have email process automation and long-term cadencing with email. And we connect to your existing email server. So that very much satisfies that email integration requirement. Document management is going to be very similar. Basically, your documents could appear down here. They would be attached to the customer record or maybe to another record. Maybe there was a ticket or a process, maybe like an inbound process that you needed to fill out. and you wanted the documents attached to that. Any data in this system can be attached to any other data. So if you have documents that need to be attached to something, they absolutely can be. Now, we do have an integration with a platform called Litico that can do digital document management, digital signatures, or if you have a preference to do an integration with Adobe for digital document signatures or DocuSign for digital document signatures, those options would also be on the table. So for digital signatures, that's going to be an integration. That's an integration with a third party. But as far as document management, storing documents, attaching documents, we easily handle that, all of that out of the box. Let's see, quotes and proposal management. Now, quotes and proposal management, that's going to be related to the lead management. So going back to this example here, yeah, we absolutely can create processes for quotes. We use the system for our quotes and for our proposals. So, you know, the proposal or quote document can be generated from this into Microsoft Word. Secondly, we can create a process, a step-by-step process around the quote and proposal structure. So it's all waterfall logic. Basically, you're saying, you know, in waterfall number one, what's the first stage of the quote? And then after the quote is accepted, what is the first stage of the proposal? And then once we get to the first stage of the proposal, what steps do we go through to get that proposal done? Now, the process automation engine is going to be complementary of that. So anything, let's say that these first three stages represent the quote, and then these next 4 or 5 stages represent the proposal. All the actions that need to happen for the quote or the proposal can be controlled by the system. Again, anything that you want to add as far as data fields for your quote or proposal can be added to the system. And we can synchronize data with remote systems as well. If you have another system of record, like an ERP or something like that, or your accounting system that we need to interface with. So just to be clear, we're not a certified accounting platform. We do a lot of things, but we are not a certified accounting platform. That's not what we're trying to be. We handle the interactions and the data associated with the interactions, and that's where we live, and the system is very powerful for that. So let's get back to our next item, pipeline management. So pipeline management is going to be very similar. Let me give you a view on that. This would be a really good example of pipeline management and saying, you know, what are my statuses going from left to right? You know, what's the first step of the process, next step, so on and so forth. These are very easy to define, and you can have obviously more than one column. So when we're talking about your sales pipeline, or, you know, any kind of an outbound pipeline that you could have multiple iterations of this Kanban. And then secondly, the KPIs dashboard will help you with that piece, right? So when you're talking about pipeline management, this is actually a sales pipeline that you're looking at right here. So, and these are actionable KPIs. It's a big difference between standard KPIs, because standard KPI dashboards, you just look at them. When I say actionable, I don't mean just that you can double click and drill down into the data. That's a nice feature, but one thing that we can do with this system is we can set triggers on the thresholds. So if my threshold is 10 right here, as soon as the needle hits that 10, you know, it might be in a day, it might be in a week, whatever the case may be, we can trigger automation off of the thresholds being reached from these items. And then this is all drag and drop like everything else in the system. So very easy to extend. It's very extensible and supported for really long-term success for your organization. Workflow automation, I've covered that a little bit. I'm going to go a little bit more into detail on that. So workflow automation is short-term or long-term. You have multiple triggers. Triggers would be when a record is created, when a record is updated, on a timer. We can have an SLA be a trigger. So you can say, if we haven't met our SLA within 30 minutes, I want to trigger a short-term process or a long-term process. We also have terminators for these. Any kind of a process that's running is going to have a termination point. So if the goal is achieved, then the automation stops, in other words, or other criteria that you can set. But step by step, there's a lot of things this can accomplish. Number one, it can automatically assign work to your employees. Number two, it can run processes, interdepartmental processes. So you say, we're going to route something from accounting to customer service, and then that's going to go from customer service to legal. Whatever your process is, it can go through that step by step. So assigning work, automating processes, interdepartmental routing and assignments, queue management. If you want to put something in someone's queue, if you want to pop up an alert on someone's screen, that's all possible. And then lastly, we're going to be able to bring in and escalate. Like I said, if there's an SLA and you need to escalate to a team, or you need to pop up something to notify someone, that's all very powerful and possible here. And then one final thing, pretty obvious, I would assume that when you first saw this, but it uses templates as well. So if you need to send out email templates or text message templates, that's all part of this. So each one of these nodes can execute multiple items. You could say one node is going to execute a text message, and it's going to assign an outbound call to an agent. And then it's going to put in an SLA that if the agent does not get to that person within 30 minutes, then we're going to assign that call to someone else. So you have kind of a bullseye routing logic. But you also have an outbound initiative that can be driven off of this. So I know I don't want to overwhelm you. I know we've talked about a lot. Please go ahead and rewind if you don't think you heard a feature, but I pretty much covered everything that the process automation can do. The workflow automation, process automation, I should say. And then the optional CRM features, reporting and analytics. We do have reporting and analytics. As we discussed, this is all within the build when we do an implementation for you. It's drag and drop. It's custom configurable. You have unlimited dashboards. You can also create reports, standard reports that you'd see, for exporting Excel spreadsheets. You can export your data into Excel, whether it's a report or whether it's the raw data or it's filtered data. That's all possible. The system includes data protection. So every record is protected for changes, and every record is protected for deletion. So if someone goes in and makes a change to a phone number, and you as an admin want to go see what the phone number was before it was changed, that is recorded in the system. It's a very powerful form of data protection. So there's an incremental data protection, and then there's a delete data protection. So if someone deletes a record, it's not actually deleted. You can go in as an admin and you can undelete that information and recover it. But yeah, these KPI dashboards and reports, again, they're unlimited. And the beauty of it is we're combining the use case data, which would be like a ticket or a lead or inbound script. Whatever the use case data is, we're combining that with the interaction data. So on the phone calls, text messages, any interactions that your agents are having, that data is stored in here as well. So I can say, how many interactions did it take me to get how many successes? For example, here you can see we've got, it's the holidays, it's the week of Christmas. So we haven't booked a lot of appointments this week. So we had 12,000 calls and we booked 4 appointments. That's pretty standard for a holiday week. So anyways, the reporting is, again, it's unlimited. And then these are all customizable. Even the colors are customizable. And there are thousands and thousands of things that you could show with this system, different dashboards that can be built. So reporting and analytics are covered. And then forecasting is not a functionality that we have in this platform. However, that's the other beauty of the Ivenix Unified User Experience. We are a data integration hub as well. So going back to our slides here, just to give you a little bit of an idea of where we fit into the space, you can see that we fit in the on answer. So we work with omni-channel communications, number one. We can work with menus and IVR, those can be triggers. So if we're connecting to a contact center platform, that platform can trigger kickoff processes within our system, many, many thousands of processes. And then we have the unified desktop, which I showed you, where you can have multiple pieces of data on the single screen, that single pane of glass that agents can use to do every aspect of their job. And then the API hub, we have a REST API, we have field mapping integrations. There's just a lot. There's real-time data exchange, being able to integrate with some of the more popular systems on the market. And let me just show you a diagram of that. So you can see here, the communications come in from left to right. On the far left, any of these communications, live chat, CRM, inbound and outbound calls, SMS, social media, WhatsApp, anything that you would consider a modern communication. And then we basically can connect to any API system and push pull data, right? So as an interaction comes through, this is really important. As a call comes through, the system is going to recognize the phone number, and then it can actually go out to a remote system. So let's say that it's an ERP like NetSuite. So it goes out to NetSuite and it pulls data in real time, and then it presents that data on the screen. But now, what if we need to pull data from NetSuite and Salesforce and a proprietary CRM? That's not a problem either. The system is built for that. So again, the phone call comes in. Doesn't have to be a phone call. It could be a phone call, text message, email. So the interaction comes in. We pull data from Salesforce, from NetSuite, and from the proprietary CRM. That data we can route to whatever section of the screen we want. So let's say you wanted your Salesforce data in the center of the screen. You wanted your payment processor data on the top right or the bottom right here. That's more appropriate, the coins. And then the proprietary CRM data over here on the bottom left. We can very quickly and easily change this around too. So the great thing about this is as we start configuring the system for you, it only takes about 4 to 6 weeks to get it launched. That's one of the huge advantages to this, is that if you've had that system you've always dreamt of, that unified system that brings everything together nicely and executes according to your standards step by step, this is what can do that, and it can do it very quickly. Like I said, a 4 to 6 week timeline in most cases to get it launched, and we're routing the data to whatever sections of the screen. So the bottom line that you want to remember is we can synchronize data in real time. We can synchronize data from multiple sources. When the interaction comes in, we can automatically look up all the data associated with that interaction. So phone call comes in, maybe that phone call triggers us to look up 3 pieces of information, and then we can show the right data on the right screen at the right time, okay? The right data on the right screen at the right time. That means a phone call might come in, you'll see one screen configuration. A text message might come in and you would see a completely different configuration of the screen. It's all about the screen configuration and the data that the agent has available. So hopefully that's helpful. Again, we meet all the criteria except for the forecasting, but we are an API data hub. So we do have the ability to connect to your systems. So we can connect basically to your forecasting system like this. And then we would just select the fields from your forecasting system and bring those in to the UUE. Once we connect to your forecasting system, we can put the data anywhere that we want on the screen, right? So again, it's a screen routing technology. You can see here, we've got the knowledge base on the right side. It's kind of a research panel, but I've also got, I can iframe things in. I can have calendar objects. So there's a lot that can be done with this platform. It meets almost every single item on Capterra's list, except for the forecasting. However, like I said, we can connect to your forecasting system. And if your forecasting needs are simple, you can talk through those with our implementation manager. Again, if they're simple, we can talk through them, but we're not looking to do 1,000 hours of work to create a forecasting system. So, again, if it's simple rules, if it's simple math that you want to do, the system is capable of that, and we could create forecasting reports for you. So in a way, yes, it does qualify for the forecasting piece as well, but it's not robust enough to consider, it a full forecasting, a full certified forecasting platform. So we are not a forecasting platform. We do not do hypothecated analysis. We are not an accounting platform. We're not a certified accounting platform, right? Meaning, all the tax documents, all the items that you would need a CPA basically to handle, right? Now, things that you would need in terms of accounting that are sidecars to accounting, processing payments, processing credit card payments, fulfillment, invoice tracking, that is possible in the system. Fulfillment, invoice tracking, and payment processing, bringing in products, synchronizing lists of products and keeping track of the products, keeping track of the inventory, the numbered inventory is something our system can do as well. So it satisfies a lot of the functionality, but I really want to be clear. We're not a point of sale service, right? And the difference of that is when you say, can it do inventory management? The answer would be yes, we can keep track of inventory. We can keep track of your numbers of your inventory, but we don't do the barcoding piece of that. So we would need to do an integration. So if something gets very specialized and goes into a smaller box, and it's just a very specialized form of functionality, you can always bet that we're going to look at an integration with another platform. So if you need to do very complex forecasting, that's an integration. If you need to do complex CPA level accounting, that's an integration. And if you need to do any kind of barcoding, like I said, barcoding, accounting, or forecasting, those would all be integrations. But we can keep track of the data that's related to all of those items. So, and we can synchronize all that data and make use of it in the platform. So that's just something to keep in mind. Again, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds for this blog, for this video blog, but please reach out to us. Visit our website, www.ivinix.com. That's IVINEX.com. And it's going to look something like this, but we're changing it all the time. So there'll be a lot of information here. Feel free to reach out to sales and get something scheduled as well. You can just send an email to sales@ivinix.com. Again, that's sales@ivinex.com. I want to thank you for your time today, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Goodbye.